In the ancient world, power was often held with a clenched fist and, almost always, in the hands of men. Kings wrote laws, priests interpreted divine will, generals led armies. But what about the women half the population, veiled by silence in dusty scrolls and shattered statues? What did it mean to be a woman in ancient times, when your worth was measured by your womb, your obedience, or your silence? In the shadow of patriarchal empires, women weren't just passive figures waiting in the margins. They were queens, priestesses, merchants, mothers, rebels. And while history has often tried to erase their voices, the truth whispers through ruins, temples, and tombs. Ancient women lived rich, complex lives shaped by systems that both confined and elevated them. This is not just a tale of oppression, this is a story of resilience, strategy, and silent power that changed civilizations from behind the veil. In Mesopotamia, the world's first known civilization, women's roles were tied tightly to the home, but they had legal standing. They could own property, run businesses, and sign contracts rights that many women centuries later could only dream of. A woman like Enheduana, daughter of Sargon of Akkad, wasn't just a temple priestess, she was the world's first recorded author. Through her hymns to the goddess Inanna, she shaped religion, politics, and poetry in one stroke of a stylus. But still, marriage was not always about love, it was often a transaction. Women were sometimes married off as young as 12, with dowries exchanged like business deals. Yet, even within these restrictions, some found power. Widows could become economically independent. Mothers, especially of sons, wielded quiet influence within the household and, sometimes, behind the throne. In ancient Egypt, women fared remarkably better than their counterparts elsewhere. They could own land, initiate divorce, and represent themselves in court. And some like Hatshepsut could even rule as pharaohs, donning the ceremonial beard to command loyalty. Egyptian women wore kohl not only to enhance beauty but as a symbol of divine protection. Still, gender roles were deeply entrenched. The ideal woman was obedient, fertile, and loyal. But power, in Egypt, often wore a feminine face through goddesses like Isis and Hathor, who were seen as life-givers, protectors, and powerful magicians. Egyptian society revered women's connection to fertility and the divine, even as it often kept them from speaking their truth publicly. In ancient Greece, the contrast is sharper. Athenian women, especially, lived cloistered lives expected to stay indoors, manage the household, and bear children. They couldn't vote, own significant property, or even choose their husbands. Their names were rarely written down. Yet, Greek mythology celebrated powerful female figures. Athena, goddess of wisdom and war, Artemis, huntress and protector of women, and Medea, both healer and destroyer. The paradox is striking. Goddesses ruled Olympus while mortal women were locked in silence. But even within these boundaries, women resisted. In Sparta, for example, women trained physically, owned property, and ran estates while their men were at war. Spartan mothers were feared and respected, expected to raise strong warriors and speak with sharp tongues. Their freedom shocked the rest of Greece. In Rome, women lived in a highly structured society where patriarchy ruled supreme. But Roman women were not powerless. Elite women, like Livia Drusilla, wife of Augustus, wielded immense influence from behind the scenes, manipulating politics through marriage alliances, family reputation, and whispered counsel. While women couldn't vote or hold office, they shaped public opinion, supported gladiators, and influenced imperial decisions. A Roman matron's honor was everything, and her control over the family unit gave her a central, if unofficial, seat of power. Even female slaves, though among the most vulnerable, found ways to survive and occasionally rise through the ranks and becoming trusted housekeepers or freedwomen running businesses. Across ancient civilizations from India to China, from the Andes to Africa, being a woman meant walking a tightrope between reverence and restriction. You might be worshipped as a goddess one day, then punished for speaking out the next. You might be praised for your beauty, then forgotten for your intellect. Yet women endured. They passed knowledge through stories, taught their children the wisdom of the ancestors, kept traditions alive when empires fell. They were the heartbeat of ancient civilizations, unseen but essential. Today, As we reconstruct the past, we must listen carefully to what history tried to silence. Because the story of ancient women is not just about what they were allowed to do, but what they did anyway, in a world that underestimated them.